Value what? You've got it not until you lose it. I'm Beauty, and this is my story, a tale of love, loss, and regret. I met Solomon, or Solo as I fondly called him, when I traveled with my friend Tammy. He was charming, handsome, and had this aura of calmness around him. We exchanged numbers, and he asked me out on a date. I was swept off my feet by his kindness and attention to detail. As we started dating, Solo showed me a level of care I'd never experienced before. He'd surprise me with my favorite meals, know exactly how to make me laugh, and listen to me for hours without judgment. He'd stock my fridge with snacks, knowing I'd get hungry at night. He understood me like no one else ever had. But I took him for granted. I thought he'd always be there, waiting for me, no matter what. I traveled, partied, and lived life on my own terms, knowing Solo would be patiently waiting. He never complained, never judged me. Instead, he'd lovingly correct me when I was wrong. I remember the nights I'd come home late, and Solo would be up, waiting to make sure I was safe. He'd help me into bed, hold me close, and whisper, "I love you, Beauty." I'd smile, feeling grateful, but also feeling like I deserved it. One day, I decided to take an extended trip abroad, leaving Solo behind. I thought he'd always be there when I returned. But life had other plans. When I came back, Solo had moved on. His heart, once mine, was now occupied by someone else. I was devastated. I realized too late that I had taken him for granted, and now he was gone. I tried to win him back, but it was too late. Solo had finally found someone who appreciated him, someone who valued his love and care. I was left with tears, regret, and longing. I missed the little things, the snacks, the late-night conversations, the laughter. I missed Solo. As I reflected on our time together, I realized that I had been blind to the love he offered. I had taken his kindness for weakness, his patience for granted. Now, I'm left with the memories of what we had, and the pain of losing it. I learnt my lesson the hard way: appreciate what you have, because once it's gone forever. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Value the love you have, cherish the people who care for you, and never take anyone for granted. I learned my lesson. Hope you realize any mistakes you're about to make now. Beyond the shadows of despair. Growing up in a poverty-stricken neighborhood, young Neoma watched her single mother, Ada, struggle to make ends meet. Despite the hardships, Ada's unwavering love and dedication inspired Neoma to persevere. However, as Neoma entered her teenage years, the harsh realities of their situation began to take its toll. Desperate to support her mother, Neoma made a heart-wrenching decision: she started exchanging her body for money. The pain and shame lingered, but the temporary financial relief eased the burden on her mother. Years passed, and Neoma's resolve weakened. She left her mother's side, seeking better opportunities in a distant city. The allure of quick cash led her to an infamous prostitution hotel, where men would pay for her services. The work was soul-crushing, but Neoma convinced herself it was necessary. As suitors proposed marriage, Neoma declined, disillusioned by the hypocrisy of men who sought her out for raw sex despite being married with families. What's the point of marriage, she'd wonder. Why be loyal to one man who'd risk my life and our children's well-being? One fateful evening, a kind-hearted client, Obina, entered Neoma's life. Unlike the others, he treated her with respect and empathy. Over conversations, Neoma shared her story, and Obina listened intently. He saw beyond the shadows of her profession and recognized the resilient woman within. Obina helped Neoma secure a job at his company, supporting her transition out of the sex trade. With time, Neoma's self-worth blossomed, and she began to envision a brighter future. As Neoma reunited with her overjoyed mother, Ada, she revealed her newfound path. Together, they started rebuilding their lives. Obina's guidance and encouragement helped Neoma discover her passion for social work. Neoma eventually founded a nonprofit organization, supporting vulnerable women and girls escaping similar circumstances. Her experiences fueled her determination to create change. Obina proposed to Neoma, promising a love built on trust, respect, and mutual support. This time, Neoma said yes. Their marriage became a sanctuary, filled with laughter and purpose. Ada, now cared for and proud, smiled knowing her daughter had broken free from the shackles of despair. Neoma's journey had come full circle, from darkness to light, from exploitation to empowerment. Neoma's organization flourished, transforming lives. She and Obinna built a loving family, their bond strengthened by shared values. Ada lived with them, surrounded by love and gratitude. Neoma's story served as a testament to resilience and redemption, inspiring others to rise above adversity and claim their rightful place in the sun. The taste of pain. Amara had always been the type to take pleasure in hurting others. She reveled in the power it gave her, the control and dominance. Her sharp tongue and quick wit made her a master manipulator, leaving a trail of broken hearts and shattered confidence in her wake. She never thought twice about the pain she inflicted, never stopped to consider the scars she left behind. That was until Elijah came along. Elijah was different. He saw past Amara's facade, to the vulnerable soul beneath. He saw the hurt she tried to hide, the fear that drove her to lash out. And he loved her anyway. For a while, Amara let her guard down. She allowed Elijah to see the real her, to touch the parts of her heart she'd long since walled off. But when he tried to get too close, she pushed him away, using her trusty arsenal of cruel words and cutting remarks. Elijah, however, refused to give up. He stood by her, patiently waiting for her to let him back in. And when she finally did, Amara felt a sense of security she'd never known before. But their happiness was short-lived. One fateful night, Elijah discovered Amara's darkest secret, a hidden journal detailing her cruel deeds, the names and faces of those she'd hurt. He felt betrayed, and his words cut deeper than any knife. "You're a poison, Amara," he said, his voice trembling with anger and sadness. "You destroy everyone around you, and you don't even care." Amara's world shattered. For the first time, she felt the sting of her own medicine. The pain was suffocating, crushing her beneath its weight. She realized, in that moment, that she had been living in a bubble, numb to the hurt she'd caused. Elijah's words made her see herself through the eyes of those she'd harmed. As the days passed, Amara struggled to come to terms with the pain she'd inflicted. She began to understand the gravity of her actions, the lives she'd altered forever. Elijah's words still echoed in her mind, but she knew she had to make amends. She started small, reaching out to those she'd hurt, apologizing and making amends. The journey was hard, but Amara persevered. She learned to empathize, to put herself in others' shoes. And slowly, she began to heal. The taste of pain had been bitter, but it taught Amara a valuable lesson, that hurting others might give temporary power, but it's forgiveness and compassion that truly set us free. The assault. Neoma and her squad of 5 friends, Tolu, Lola, Ada, Uche, and Amaka, were the queens of Lagos nightlife. Every weekend, they'd paint the town red, hopping from one club to another, dancing the night away, and sipping on expensive champagne. Their mantra was simple: live life to the fullest, no regrets. The group of friends, all in their early 20s, had met in university and quickly bonded over their love of partying. After graduation, they promised to keep the vibe alive, and so, their weekly clubbing escapades began. Their favorite haunt was Club Rouge, where the music pulsed through your veins like adrenaline and the crowd was always electric. The owner, a charming entrepreneur named Oscar, knew them by name and always reserved a VIP table. One fateful night, as they sipped their signature cocktails, Neoma spotted 2 handsome guys eyeing them from across the room. Tall, dark, and chiseled, they exuded confidence. She nudged her friends, and they exchanged sly smiles. The guys, Emeka and Ikenna, made their move, sauntering over to introduce themselves. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and soon, they were laughing and joking like old friends. Neoma was drawn to Emeka's charisma, while Tolu and Lola swooned over Ikenna's smooth talk. As the night wore on, the group danced, drank, and reveled in each other's company. Emeka and Ikenna bought them shots, and they toasted to new friendships. Neoma felt alive, like nothing could touch her. But, as the night wore on, the dynamics shifted. Emeka's charm began to unsettle Neoma. He'd whisper suggestive comments, making her uncomfortable, but she brushed it off as harmless flirting. Tolu and Lola, however, were completely enamored with Ikenna. As the club closed, Emeka suggested an after-party at his penthouse apartment. Neoma hesitated, but her friends were already convincing themselves it was a great idea. "We're adults, we can handle ourselves," Ada chimed in. The penthouse was lavish, with breathtaking views of the city. The music continued, and the drinks flowed. But as the hours passed, Neoma began to notice disturbing signs. Emeka's friends, rugged-looking men, had arrived, and the atmosphere turned sinister. Ikena's demeanor changed, too. He became aggressive, grabbing Tolu's arm when she tried to leave. Lola, intoxicated, stumbled and fell, and Ikena laughed, saying she was asking for it. Neoma's instincts screamed at her to get out, but Emeka's grip on her arm was like a vice. "You're not going anywhere," he sneered, his eyes cold. The night descended into chaos. The girls, realizing their mistake, tried to flee, but the doors were locked. Emeka's friends closed in, their intentions clear. In a desperate bid to escape, Neoma grabbed a broken bottle and threatened Emeka. "Let us go, or I'll call the police." Emeka sneered. "You think you're special? You're just another assault, a plaything for us." The word assault echoed in Neoma's mind as the night spiraled out of control. She and her friends were assaulted, their dignity shattered. When the sun rose, the girls stumbled out of the penthouse, battered and bruised. They vowed never to speak of that night, to erase it from their memories. But the trauma lingered. Neoma's sparkle dimmed, and her love for partying turned to dust. The group disbanded, each member struggling to rebuild their shattered lives. The city, once their playground, now seemed dark and menacing. Neoma realized that their reckless abandon had made them vulnerable, easy prey for predators like Emeka and Ikena. As she looked in the mirror, Neoma saw a haunted reflection staring back. The assault had left its mark, a painful reminder that some nights can leave scars that never heal.